Purusha, Ashwadhana Purusha, Dharmasyasya Parantapa, Dharmasyasya Parantapa, Prapyamam Nivartante, Prapyamam Nivartante, Richu Samsaravatmani, Richu Samsaravatmani, Ashwadhana Purusha, Dharmasyasya Parantapa, Prapyamam Nivartante, 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 Richu Samsaravatmani, Ashwadhana, those who are faithless. Purusha, such persons. Dharmasya, toward the process of religion. Asya, this. Parantapa, O killer of the enemy. Aprapya, without obtaining. Mam, me. Nivartante, come back. Mritu, of death. Samsara, immaterial existence. Vatmani, on the path. Translation. Those who are not faithful in this devotional service cannot attain me, O conqueror of enemies. Therefore they return to the path of birth and death in this material world. Purport. The faithless cannot accomplish this process of devotional service. That is the purport of this verse. Faith is created by association with devotees. Unfortunate people, even after hearing all the evidence from the Vedic literatures and from great personalities, still have no faith in God. They are hesitant and cannot stay fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. Thus, faith is a most important factor for progress in Krishna consciousness. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that faith is the complete conviction that simply by serving the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, one can achieve all perfection. That is called real faith. As stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Yatha taror mula nischanena tripyanti tatskanda ujo prashaka pranopaharachcha yatendriyanam tathaiva saravahanam achutteja. By giving water to the root of a tree, one satisfies its branches, twigs, and leaves, and by supplying food to the stomach, one satisfies all the senses of the body. Similarly, by engaging in the transcendental service of the Supreme Lord, one automatically satisfies all the demigods and all other living entities. Therefore, after reading Bhagavad Gita, one should promptly come to the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. One should give up all other engagements and adopt the service of the Supreme Lord, Krishna, the personality of Godhead. If one is convinced of this philosophy of life, that is faith. Now, the development of that faith is the process of Krishna consciousness. There are 3 divisions of Krishna conscious men. In the third class are those who have no faith. even if they are officially engaged in devotional service, they cannot achieve the highest perfectional stage. Most probably they will slip after some time. They may become engaged, but because they haven't complete conviction and faith, it's very difficult for them to continue in Krishna consciousness. We have practical experience in discharging our missionary activity that some people come and apply themselves to Krishna consciousness with some hidden motive. And as soon as they are economically a little well situated, they give up this process and take to their old ways again. It is only by faith that one can advance in Krishna consciousness. As far as the development of faith is concerned, one who is well versed in the literatures of devotional service and has attained the stage of firm faith is called a first-class person in Krishna consciousness. And in the second class are those who are not very advanced in understanding the devotional scriptures, but who automatically have firm faith that Krishna Bhakti, or service to Krishna, is the best course, and so in good faith have taken it up. Thus they are superior to the third class, who have neither perfect knowledge of the scriptures nor good faith, but by association and simplicity are trying to follow. The third class person in Krishna consciousness may fall down, but when one is in the second class, he does not fall down. And for the first class person in Krishna consciousness, there is no chance of falling down. One in the first class will surely make progress and achieve the result at the end. As far as the third class person in Krishna consciousness is concerned, although he has faith in the conviction that devotional service to Krishna is very good, he has not yet gained adequate knowledge of Krishna through the scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. Sometimes the third class persons in Krishna consciousness have some tendency toward karma yoga and jnana yoga, and sometimes they are disturbed. But as soon as the infection of karma yoga or jnana yoga is vanquished, they become second class or first class persons in Krishna consciousness. Faith in Krishna is also divided into 3 stages and described in Srimad Bhagavatam. First class attachment, second class attachment, and third class attachment are also explained in Srimad Bhagavatam in the 11th canto. Those who have no faith, even after hearing about Krishna and the excellence of devotional service, who think that it is simply eulogy, find the path very difficult, even if they are supposedly engaged in devotional service. For them there is very little hope of gaining perfection. Thus faith is very important in the discharge of devotional service. Ashadadhana purusha dharmasyasya parantapa aprapya mam nivartante mrityu samsaravartmani. Those who are not faithful in this devotional service cannot attain me, O conqueror of enemies. Therefore they return to the path of birth and death in this material world. So Krishna, in order to understand this verse in its proper context, we may review some of the verses which came before in the 9th chapter, since this is the 3rd verse, there won't be that many. In the beginning, Krishna said, Idam tu te guyatamam pravakshami anasuyada jnana vijnana sahitam yajgatva mokshashe shubha. He was beginning to instruct Arjuna in the very essential elements of devotional service. Therefore, this chapter is called the most confidential knowledge. It is confidential. It is something which is not completely obvious. It is something which actually is a little bit hidden. Something which could only be really understood by mature realization in devotional service. In other words, when one has actually gotten some transcendental knowledge and has actually acted in that way, according to that knowledge, he may advance into the most confidential realm of transcendental wisdom. And therefore Krishna said to Arjuna, Idam tu te guyatamam. I'm now going to speak to you this guya, secret. Something special. Something which is only for a specific class of man. Who is that man? Pravakshami Anasuyave. Because you are not envious of me, Krishna said. Also, you will find about special transcendental knowledge, there is a certain restriction placed in Srimad Bhagavatam. Dharma projita kaitavo chaparamo nimmatsaranam satam. There, it is stated that in the Srimad Bhagavatam, all the cheating processes of dharma, and here, dharma syasya, we're going towards this process of religion in the sense of that supreme process which brings one to the joyful platform. Susukam kartamagayam. That's the previous verse. So, dharma projita kaitavocha, real dharma, which is freed from cheating processes, is being taught in this Bhagavatam. All cheating processes kicked out. The cheating processes refer to those processes which give some indication that you will get something for your work. Fruitive results. You will get either some material reward, or if one is speculating, he may get liberation into the Brahman, or something like this. Mystic yogic power, for those who are looking for those who are siddhi kami, looking for mystic power. So all these things are kicked out of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Dharma pojita kaitavocha paramo nirmatsaranam satam. This book is meant for those who are non-envious. Nirmatsara. Like the Goswamis of Vrindavan were described as. Nirmatsara. Freed from envious conditions. They had no envy towards other personalities. So this Bhagavatam is meant for that. Now, factually, Bhagavad Gita is also meant for such persons. Because it is being spoken to Arjuna because he's not envious. Not envious of Krishna. Pralakshami Anasuyave. Now, one may say, he may make such an analysis, that, all right, Krishna spoke this to Arjuna because he was not envious of Krishna, but we're not envious of Krishna either. We're just envious of each other. So that's okay. We can hear Bhagavad Gita too. Of course, anybody can hear Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is for everybody, more or less. Of course, Krishna contradicts that statement at the end of Bhagavad Gita. He says, you should not speak Bhagavad Gita to those who are envious or proud or not austere or etc. You should only speak to my devotees. But we are establishing the distribution of Gita everywhere because factually only the devotees will read it. Of course, sometimes the demons read it to find fault. And that benefits them to some extent. But factually speaking, this Bhagavad Gita is meant for the devotees, and specifically, Krishna is indicating here that if you want to enter into the supreme wisdom, that most confidential knowledge, then one should consider that he has to be non-envious. And we're not just speaking here of just non-envious of Krishna, because you cannot be not envious of Krishna and be envious of all his parts and parcels. Neither you can be envious of all the parts and parcels and not be envious of Krishna. Or maybe that was the same thing. Or if you're envious of Krishna, you must be envious of his parts and parcels. Anyway, I must have hit it there with all this. There has to be a very close relationship between the two. Because Krishna and his parts and parcels, they are Krishna. Because you are part of Krishna, you are also Krishna, little tiny Krishna. Prabhupada used to say this. You are also Krishna, but teensy tiny Krishna. Therefore you cannot be understood in the same way. But if you are envious of Krishna's parts, then you are also envious of Krishna. But actually it works like this. Because we are envious of Krishna, we are therefore envious of the parts of Krishna. It's like if you are envious of one person, you are envious also on his family. And we've seen this also when we were a child. Somebody was envious on our father, and we got envious on us. And I'm sure you all have such experiences, although we never did anything wrong to such a person. This works like that. When you are envious to the superior, then all of the inferiors or subordinates of that person, you become envious to them too. It's like some persons were envious on Srila Prabhupada, so therefore they're also envious on us, who follow Srila Prabhupada. It's natural. When it just follows. Anything that comes from that person must be bad. Because this person is bad, anything that comes from that person must also be bad. And therefore they reject like that. It's envy. So those who are envious of Krishna, they say, this Krishna is bad, all his parts and parcels who are devoted to him, they're also bad. They say like that. Anyway, let's move on. So, those who have some envy are not factually able to understand this most confidential knowledge. But if one is not envious of Krishna, then this knowledge will deliver him from all of the miseries of the material existence. It's a wisdom. Krishna specifically uses jnana, vijnana, sahitam. Jnana in terms of the knowledge, and vijnana in terms of the practical realization that comes from this knowledge. It will bring one above the suffering conditions of this material nature. Then he goes on to glorify this knowledge. Raja Vidya. The actual Raja Vidya means the king of knowledge. Now, Krishna himself calls this the king of knowledge. Raja Vidya. That's an interesting word, Raja Vidya. Actually, if you think about it, in one other point of view, because when you want to talk about the king, you are talking about like the controller, the organizer, the one who makes things happen. Because one could also use like Parama Vidya, Parama Gyan, or there's so many other words, which also refer to like Vishishta Rupena Gyan in Sanskrit. This is the superlative, the superior, most superior of all knowledge. But actually Krishna doesn't just refer to it as superior, although it is certainly superior. But Raja Vidya, of course, is one way of looking at it. That knowledge which makes everything happen. Actually, that knowledge which causes the perfection to take place. He's not just talking about something which is theoretical. He's talking about something which is very practical. You can also be very much into jnana. But this knowledge is different than that. It is a knowledge which makes things happen. Not just things. It makes you develop the pure connection with the Supreme Personality of God and Krishna. Raja Vidya. That is the supreme knowledge. Rajakuyam. But because it is so perfect in that way, it's a secret in one sense. Because it's confidential. Not everybody knows about it. Because they're not even qualified. Even many people have read Bhagavad Gita. That does not mean they've understood it. Or that it has changed their lives. Many persons have read it. But many persons have not exactly changed their lives. Of course, we're not talking about reading Prabhupada's Gita. When you read Prabhupada's Gita, then somehow or another your life changes whether you want it to or not. So potent is this book. But specifically, we're talking about that knowledge which pushes one forward towards Krishna, to surrender to Krishna, and to become fully absorbed in Krishna. Rajaguyam Pavitram. It is the supreme because it's the purest knowledge. This also explains something why it's a secret or it's confidential, because not everybody's interested in the purest knowledge. Pavitra, or idam uttamam, transcendental, uttama, beyond darkness. Actually, nowadays, nobody's interested in that which is beyond darkness. They're basically interested in that which is within darkness. They're mainly interested in all of the ignorance of the heavy city life, with all of its sense gratification and other demoniac things. That they like. So they don't like uttama, they like tama. So when you say pavitram, they get scared. They think, what is this pure business? Then I'll not be able to enjoy. So I don't like this so much. I like that which is tama, full of darkness. In the darkness you can do a lot more than you can do in the daytime. So therefore I like this dark, smoke hanging down in the middle of the room, and the music blasting at 80,000 decibels, so your eardrums get knocked back 20 miles. Tama, heavy, dense ignorance. So intoxicated one can't even find his way out the door. And if one ends up laying down with his face in the mud, then he's very first class. Tama, intense, deep ignorance. One likes this. He thinks, ooh, this is good. Therefore, who's interested nowadays in uttama? And even if they're interested in something transcendental, if it goes by that name, they like it because ultimately they'll be able to do something fantastic. A siddhi will come. Flying or whatever, I don't know what. Nowadays they must have some new, always changing. So they have some siddhi, developing some siddhi. Then with that siddhi, I can enjoy my sense gratification much better. Because always it boils back down to sense gratification. I want to enjoy something. But this is not for you. This verse in Bhagavad Gita is saying, pavitram, it's for those who want purity. Uttamam, beyond not only your body, but beyond all bodies, beyond even the body of mankind, that which is in the transcendental realm, the transcendental existence. This is transcendental to the material nature. This knowledge you cannot find within the material nature. Naturally, you do not find the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. In nature, this material nature, you may find nice fruits and flowers and trees, a nice stream, a nice cloud. You won't find Bhagavad Gita. Although some people have speculated that if you just feel good on a nice sunny day and there's a nice breeze blowing, that this is God or something transcendental. It's not like that. You don't find the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita like that. Because if you just test such persons, they may, if they're very developed, come close to something. But this transcendental, confidential knowledge cannot be realized just by one's own awakening by himself. That he, just like a flower, blooms and blossoms, and all of a sudden he's realized in Bhagavad Gita. You have to be taught it. Evam parampara praptam. You have to be taught it. Just like all the great saintly personalities, like great kings. Imam Rajarsayo Viduhu. You have to be taught it. Somebody teaches you. Therefore Krishna says, find yourself a spiritual master. Learn from him by inquiring, surrendering, rendering service. He will help you. So you have to be taught. And Krishna even says to Arjuna, Idam tute kuyatamam. I'm giving this to you. Very clear. One gives it to another. It's not something which just develops naturally or spontaneously. Spontaneously Maya develops with all of its understanding. Anything spontaneous like that, which is not based in the Shastra, is definitely Maya. You can be for sure certain about that. Therefore Krishna says, if you are acting whimsically, not following the prescribed knowledge in the Veda, there's no siddhi, perfection, no sukha, happiness, and no shanti, peacefulness. These things cannot be attained by just speculating. You have to develop understanding by hearing from an authority. One may have so much realization on his own about so many things, And maybe some of it is close to something Krishna conscious. But you can never be fixed in this process of devotional service and get the result of it, which is the purification of heart and mind so that one will realize Krishna until one has heard from a bona fide authority and one has actually followed the instructions of that personality. So here Arjuna is very lucky, he's learning directly from Krishna, and we're learning also from Krishna in the same way by reading this Bhagavad Gita. So, Pavitram and Uttama type of knowledge can only come in a descending manner. It descends from the higher regions. And then everyone understands it in this way and gives it to others. Pratyakshavagamam. It gives direct perception of the self. And that is a very important point. And actually it's very much related with this verse, which we'll get to eventually. Have no fear. So, Pratyakshavagamam means direct perception. Pratyaksha means I see it. I see it. Even aksha is in there. Yeah. My eyes can perceive it directly. I see it. I look at it. I taste it. I realize it. Krishna consciousness is something you taste. I know that's shocking to some. But in fact, it's really something you realize. You taste it by devotion. Of course, it's not shocking to those of you who are out in the preaching mission all the time, working hard for spreading Krishna consciousness movement. You taste it all the time. And others who are directly supporting that mission, which is everybody, they also taste. So if you're not tasting, there's something wrong. So now, taste is there. But actually, why is it that sometimes I'm not tasting? Because this process is dharmyam, the perfection of religion. It's susukam. It always brings me bliss. Susukam kartum avyayam. It doesn't deteriorate either. It's always getting better. Avyayam means not deteriorating. It's always getting better. Susukam. It's always joy that's increasing. Are you wondering? I'm hearing some chuckling from this side of the audience. Perhaps you're wondering, wow, that doesn't sound like me. Susukam kartam avyayam. I mean, it's like, this way, and then sometimes this way, and that way again, and the same. So, I mean, there must be something wrong. Yes! Pratyakshavagamam, have you realized yourself? No. And you're Ananda Varna. You're not. Where is the Ananda? You're asking. Have you realized yourself, sir? No. Why? Then, Atharma Satya Purusha. Uh-oh. Look out. Yeah. Those who are not faithful in this path of devotional service cannot attain me. All right, now let's analyze that before everybody gets upset. Rupa Goswami, he says like this, Adao Shadha, Tato Sadasango Syat, Tata Bhajana Kriya, Tata Nata Nivritti Syat, Tato Nishta. And that's what Krishna is talking about here, really. This word, Shadha, when it is used in this context, is Nishta. Just like it is stated in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that those who are Shadavan actually have knowledge. Faith. These persons are understood to be higher devotees. You'll understand who is a higher devotee and who is a lower devotee by the quantity of his faith. Quality is, of course, included in that. Shadavan, one who's really somebody who's faithful, that personality may be understood to be higher class than one who's not so faithful. And that's what Krishna is also indicating here. Those who are not so faithful, they've got some problems. What are those problems? The anarthas are there. Unwanted things in the heart. Weeds on the path of devotional service, this creeper of devotion, this tree of devotion, may not be developed. It may be a very small plant. That's what Prabhupada is indicating in the purport. 3 classes of men. The first class of man, he has some inclination towards Krishna consciousness. Now this is, of course, the Prakrita Bhakta class. Prakrita Bhakta means the materialistically minded devotee. Devotee nonetheless, Bhakta. You notice the word Bhakta is there. Bhakta is there, and Bhakti is there to some extent, but Prakrita is there. This word Prakrita before Bhakta means, okay, he just happens to slip into the class of devotees. But Prakrita, there's some materialistic connection there. He's got some connection to the material world which is holding him back like an anchor. Prakrita, Prakriti. The Prakrita is the manifestation of Prakriti, Krishna's energy, called the material nature. Sure, it's all Krishna's energy, but some of it he designates as material and then creates the illusion in it, and this is known as matter. And some persons accept that illusion within the material nature as something that they like to be attached to. So therefore they're called Prakrita Bhakta because they are attached to this Prakriti in some form or another, and it's generally manifesting through the enviousness. They're envious of Krishna to a certain extent. Why? He has to be the enjoyer. Why not me? Look at him, all them gopis, dancing, enjoying. Everybody gives him offerings. Everybody gives him everything. They say, all glories to Sri Krishna. Nobody looking at me. They don't say all glories to me ever. Nobody ever says, don't even care about me. They all look towards Krishna, everybody. Here I am, just nobody here. Envy. I don't like that. It's about me. I'm the enjoyer. Ishvaroham, I'm the controller. Humbogi, give it to me. Therefore, one dives into the material world. He doesn't just fall. Jet propelled, non-stop, turbocharged. Where's that Maya? And then he enters into the material world. I'm here! Me! And everybody applauds. Great, wonderful. Get to work. Like, have you ever seen a small child? A small child will walk into the room. There's many adults doing many things. The child will walk into the room, and then if one adult sees him, then, I'm here. You notice they have that image. I'm here. Pay attention to me now. And then when the adults go, oh, very good, how nice, then he's very happy. So long as he's the center of attention, very happy, because he doesn't really have his defense network and his diplomacy and his ability to shield his real desires. It just comes straight out. I'm here, look at me, give me sense gratification. Pick me up when I want to be picked up. Give me something to eat when I want something to eat. If I kick my feet on the floor, you give me that thing right now. He has not yet learned the art of cheating. He's just very straightforward. I want it, and I want it now, and you give it to me because you're mommy, and that's what mommy means. And I'm your baby. Give me now. I want. Pure and simple demonstration of what Maya is this small child. Don't take it too bad. Now, this very perfect demonstration is just basically where everybody else is at. Except when we grow up, we learn that it doesn't work like that. You can't just walk in the room and demand everybody's going to stop everything and say, oh, glories to you! And applaud and clap. And just, of course, we love it. Everybody would love it if that's the way it was, but it's not like that. And we know it because we walk in rooms all the time and nobody cares. So after a while we learn that this is not the way to get glorification. We have to do something. So therefore we spend our lives just figuring out how to do something so that everybody will just scream our name. Masses of people roaring. You! This is the way it is. Sometimes we get a little taste of that in the Sankirtan meetings when everybody's pounding the drums. So we've been through that before. We've already gone beyond that stage now. We don't even have to talk about it. So, this feeling that there is this deep desire. I want to be glorified. I want to be served. Yeah? And it's another thing. People want to be served. That's why in Kali Yuga you don't even find a friendly marriage relationship anymore. Because the wife wants the husband to serve her, and the husband wants the wife to serve him. Yeah? Each one saying, "Oh, I'm the enjoyer. I'm the controller." The other one says, "No, I'm the enjoyer. I'm the controller." Haven't you read the Bhagavatam? Sometimes the men, they say like, "Haven't you read the Bhagavatam? I'm the enjoyer and controller." The wife says, "That's nonsense. If you're the enjoyer and controller, then I'm the enjoyer and controller too." And they're both wrong. Because in fact, you can't say like that. I'm the enjoyer, it says in the Bhagavatam. In the Bhagavatam it says, you're supposed to be spiritual leader. How about that? You can't demand, I'm the enjoyer, I'm the controller. And similarly on the opposite number. Then one should be humble and submissive to service of the Supreme Lord. Anyway, I didn't mean to get into this. I don't know how do I get out of this? Okay, to the point. Just gotta watch it now. Slip into these things. All those dressed in white, they start listening very carefully. They keep calculating, what will my wife think? Anyway. It's hot in here. Open the window. The point is that we all have this feeling like this, that we are the enjoyers. We have this controlling tendency. Anyway, this is all this enviousness. I want to be the one. And we're just still trying to imitate Krishna. Therefore, factually, when we say little Krishnas, then factually we are thinking like that. We don't think ourselves too little, but we think ourselves that we are the enjoyers. This envious attitude is there. And that manifests against others also. If somebody else has some opulence or something, then we become envious on them. Why he should have it? Why not me? And even though we know better, we cannot control it. You know, why he distributes so many books? Why not me? Why do you glorify him? Why not me? Why this person, he's organizing something? Why not me? He gets glorified. Why not me? Look at that Grihasti, he's got a big car. Why not me? Why I don't get this? Or something like this. And then one becomes envious. There's so much envy in the women's department. Here I go again. There's so much enviousness sometimes. We found we can't even have a couple of ladies living in the same room, just sharing a place there. They're all married. You know, sometimes the men, they go stay in another room. Very good for them, they get very Krishna conscious. And the ladies, they have to stay in another room. But not bad, pretty good. And there's so much, why fighting? Because everyone thinks, I should have my apartment, I should have my apartment, I should have my apartment, I should have my apartment. You think this is right? Oh, dear. Yes, we've heard that it's correct. From the authorities. Enviousness is there amongst each other. Why? Because we haven't learned the art of seeing ourselves as servants of Krishna fully, and everyone else as Krishna's servant. We haven't learned the art of serving others as Krishna's servant, because we are demanding service to ourselves. So, those who have some contamination like this, that I want to be the enjoyer, I want to be the controller, they cannot become faithful on this path of devotional service because they're basically captured in this category of prakrita bhakta. They'll do devotional service because they understand somehow that it's right, it's nice, it's good somehow. but they just cannot become purified enough to understand that they are not the enjoyers and controllers. They understand it to some degree, that Krishna is God, He's the enjoyer and controller, okay, I serve Him. But anything to do with anybody else, they don't understand. Nacha abhakeshu chaineshu. They don't really understand how to deal with others. They can see Krishna, and in some cases they see simply spiritual master. But everybody else, they don't see at all. Or they see them as an annoyance, or they see them as something as a disturbance. Prakrita. Because I should enjoy. And here's this other person disturbing my enjoyment. Or here's this other person who's actually criticizing my body, speaking against my body. The greatest offense you can possibly make. To criticize somebody else's body. And even worse, to criticize his mind. Practically, your life is finished in relation to that person. Because you have chastised his body. If anyone ever says something bad, speaks a little badly about this thing, which is nothing but a product of the modes of nature, then one gets so disturbed. So, the lowest class, this third class, has many problems dealing with others. Therefore, they remain separate from others, and therefore, they are basically concerned with their own situations. And they always have to have their separate, independent situation, where they don't have to work with anyone else, because they're so envious of others, they can't serve others. And if you can't live, if you live with others and you can't serve them, then you can't live with others. You have to leave that association. Because when we work together, it means we serve each other. I serve you, you serve me, we serve each other. Because it's life, we're all together like this. Once we saw a situation where everybody sat down to eat and nobody wanted to serve. Everybody wanted to be served, so they sat there for a long time. We have to learn that sometimes I serve, sometimes you serve, sometimes the other one serves. And we have to have that feeling. But you have to be non-envious to do it. If you're envious, you can't serve for long. You may serve, let's say, prasadam 1 or 2 times, and then finally you just throw the spoon on the floor and you say, you serve it yourself! If the person asks, can you just kindly don't put the dal on top of my sweet balls, just put it over here. Serve it yourself! Because we have these feelings like this, that we should be served. So when you're living in a society, amongst others, you must transcend this Prakrita Bhakta platform. The Prakrita Bhaktas are those who live outside, and we're talking about those who just maintain independence from the others, because they cannot tolerate such a situation. Those who live inside are those who are freed from enviousness of others. They are ready to serve others. They don't have that feeling. So this distinction must be made like that. Now, of course, we're talking about those who have developed in Krishna consciousness, and then they may move out because they have not developed higher. Those who are coming into Krishna consciousness for the first time, reading, hearing, chanting, hearing about the Krishna consciousness philosophy and movement, they're coming forward. So they haven't yet come into this knowledge of Krishna. They haven't yet developed to their full potential. They're still just trying and understanding and testing it out. Is it right for me? Is it the right thing? So they're coming forward. And then when they take it up fully, they will get the full opportunity to surrender to Krishna. And then afterward, then they may be understood in this category or that category and another category. Not that our Namhata people should consider themselves in any particular category yet, to make things clear. But when one comes into this and he gradually understands something, then according to the development of his faith, he may be situated in one platform or another. Well, of course, to be truthful, if somebody knows better and stays in his independent way, attached to the material world, then he can be classified safely as Prakrita Bhakti. But when you are coming into the Krishna consciousness factually, and you develop some faith, then you come to the platform of actual actual faithfulness, you come to the second class, Madhyamadikara. And in such a platform, one knows that devotees are his only real friends. Krishna is his real Lord. He serves devotees according to the different ways of loving relationship. Dadati, patigunati, guhyamakyati, krichati, mungte, bhunjayate, chaiva. These 6 means. They speak with each other. They speak with each other. One speaks something, asks some question. The other one gives an answer to the question. Or they discuss something personal with each other. And then one gives charity to the other accepts it, the other then gives charity to another. Or gives food stuff. Actually, in our Krishna conscious philosophy, the Vaishnava culture, the preparing and giving of food to others is one of the major points. The cooking and preparation of prasadam, offering it to Krishna, and then serving it out to others is a major part of the loving exchange. One always wants to satisfy that person with this transcendental offering of Krishna prasadam. So this loving exchange is like that. Bhunte bhujayate chaiva. And you take what others are offering you. It's an exchange of love. So, on this platform of the Madhyamadikara, there's a lot of exchanges of love between devotees. But one avoids the demons, the envious persons. So the envious he avoids, because he doesn't want any association with envious persons. In such a platform, he has real firm faith. Prabhupada says you do not fall down from that second platform. If you're actually on that second platform, you never fall off of it. What to speak of the first class, Uttama platform, where one sees everybody as Krishna's part and parcel. He sees everybody as the servant of the Lord. He sees even within everything Krishna. He sees within every living being Krishna. So such persons, they are the highest class of men. So we have the example of Srila Prabhupada. Beyond that, there may be other examples. But the second class platform is the platform we are actually trying to attain, to start off with, to get to that platform. Then gradually increasing, even to a very high platform. But one has to give up this enviousness. This is the real thing. First, give up enviousness. And second, come to the platform of serving Krishna all the time. And these two things are intimately related. You can't serve Krishna all the time so long as one has got some enviousness in the heart. Because when the enviousness in the heart is there, then sometimes he has to act for the sake of his body, mind, ego, or whatever. So these things are related. 100% serving Krishna is related with this freedom, complete freedom from enviousness. When one has become completely freed from the envious condition, then he can serve Krishna 100%. And to the degree he cannot, then we can understand there's enviousness within the heart, which is demanding I get something out of this. So somebody can go on for some time serving, somebody can go on for some time doing some devotional service. But if he's got that enviousness in the heart and it doesn't clear up, he falls away from the process. So therefore, we're warning everybody. Although it's a very heavy topic, actually. And it may even be somewhat hard for those of you who are a little bit new. It may seem too heavy. But actually, it's a warning that so long as one allows enviousness of Krishna, and enviousness of others, envious of Krishna are synonymous. So long as that is allowed in the heart to be there, then one is not able to fully surrender or come closer to Krishna like that, very close to Krishna. And one day it may cause him a lot of trouble. Therefore, we are advising everybody to come to the point of actual surrender. Even if it is not yet able to fully manifest of being a devotee living in the temple. That may not even be the best program for everybody. But one should understand that he's got this tendency in his heart. And he should work really hard digging straight to that point. of becoming free from the envious condition of this material world, then when one is basically understanding the real problem, he can act in such a way as to solve that actual problem. And studying the books of Srila Prabhupada is very, very excellent means by which one can understand very clearly his problems in this regard. And chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Can also, and that will definitely bring one to the point of purification, where that enviousness will gradually just go away, because we're constantly chanting Krishna's name. We're not chanting our name, we're chanting Krishna's name. We're serving Krishna by chanting his name. And then gradually that enviousness will go away. Prabhupada gives the formula for being free from envy. If you're envious of a person, then serve him, and that envy will go away. Because that principle is there with Krishna. You're envious of Krishna, serve Krishna. And then all the envy will go away. So just chant Krishna's name. That's service to Krishna. And this envious attitude in the heart will go away. Render service to Krishna somehow, as much as possible. And all of that contamination will go away. But if one insists on maintaining it, despite all of these things, then what can one say? So therefore, it must be a two-way cooperative street. One must be willing and desirous of surrendering. One must actually want that. Then he can come closer. But if one doesn't really want it, then he cannot make steady, firm advancements on the path of devotional service. So remember this point, because it's very deep and important. It actually very clearly describes our basic problem that we all have to surrender. It doesn't matter whether you're one day here or you've been here for 10 years. You'll have the exact same problem. It's just a question of degree. Until one becomes completely pure, one will always have this problem of enviousness in the heart. And when one is completely pure and completely freed from envy, then one will actually know what it really means to realize directly the Supreme Personality of God. And this process is meant for that. This process is no cheap process. It is meant to bring you face to face with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, it's a heavy process. It's face-to-face association with Krishna. Therefore, it's a sledgehammer process. It knocks out that enviousness from the heart. And what do you get for that pain? Intense pain as the false ego cracks and just, no! But you get that reward of the highest realization, direct realization of Krishna. Krishna says it, Pachakshavadamam. You get direct realization. You know, not some cheap thing. This great pain of surrender. Because you can take up other processes. There's no problem in surrender. Because there's no surrender. They don't talk like surrender. You can just merge your way to some oneness without any pain. That's what's very nice about the oneness. You just merge into it with no pain. Or the void, just void out with no pain. But you want to talk about this Bhagavan realization, Krishna, Sri Krishna. There's a bit of pain there. As the sledgehammer of purification hits the crust, the crud, the just caked on gunk around our hearts, which is just keeping us from realizing Krishna. And when that hammer comes down, sometimes it just hurts like anything. And that heavy hammer, Prabhupada said that this is the jeweler's hammer, the goldsmith. Very, very gentle. And then there's the blacksmith's hammer. It's just one. His bhakti process is like that. Yeah. It just takes directly the hammer to that crust on the false ego and says, "You're Krishna's servant. Boom! You're not God. You're not God. Boom! Oh! Oh! How can I tolerate it? You're not the greatest. Oh! No! You're not the greatest. It's not even that you're just better than most people. Oh, oh, there's nothing worse than finding out you're just ordinary. Oh, ordinary. Oh, just to hear it is so painful. We're just ordinary. But we're not ordinary. We're Krishna's devotees. Yeah, but we're all Krishna's devotees, so we're all not ordinary equally. That's not good enough, and we're just ordinary devotees. And I have to become a great devotee. then I'll get it. No, but that's complete Maya. The more and more you become great. The whole thing is again, I'm going to be God. And then one day the blacksmith's hammer of the bhakti process hits you in the heart and just, wah! Again! And then at that point, one better be really prepared to surrender. Because that's heavy stuff. Krishna is heavy. Who's heavy? We're talking heavy here. It's not light. There's no black. There's no goldsmith's hammer. Heavy hammer. This is a heavy. Actually, armed with that club of knowledge, it's a real weapon. Krishna calls it a weapon, transcendental weapon. He also calls it a knife in one sense. A knife to cut out. Vijante hridaya granthis chidante sarva samshaya. Just cut them out. Cut out these hard knots in the heart. Because actually you can't untangle all these knots in the heart. There are too many of them. They're too strong. You can only cut them out by the weapon of detachment and knowledge. So Krishna is giving here confidential knowledge. When one actually understands this knowledge, because in this chapter he's talking a lot about enviousness and the effects of enviousness and the results of being non-envious. So when one actually can get to that actual platform of non-enviousness of Krishna, real surrender to Krishna, then one can actually attain his lotus feet in pure love and go straight back to Krishna's abode at the end of this life. So, although it may be a little difficult sometimes, it doesn't matter whether you are in the temple or out of the temple, it's difficult sometimes. Because the point is that we are fighting with our, especially number one enemy, us. The number one enemy, the material us, our false ego. This false ego, you can't hit it. You can't hit your false ego, so don't even bother trying. It's deep in there, you know? Very subtle, extremely subtle. One may be able to overcome all kinds of attachments in different ways, but very, very subtly there's that false ego in there, which is this thing which is always telling us all the time, you're the greatest. And maybe someday they'll realize. Someday, then you dream, someday I'll get that. Whatever. So one has to learn to recognize such things in himself and try to directly counteract them by this process of devotional service. So we're sorry we kept everybody so late. Somehow or another it became late. So we'll let you take rest then. Tomorrow's a big day. Krishna's birthday, Janmashtami celebration, where we can spend the whole day simply hearing, chanting, and remembering Krishna. And remembering one thing, that He's God. He's the Ishvara. He's the Supreme Lord. He's the enjoyer. He's the controller. I'm His servant. And these devotees are His parts and parcels, His beloved servitors. I am meant to serve them. If we just think like that all the time, then this whole temple will turn into Vaikuntha immediately. As soon as the devotees get the idea, Krishna is God and these are his servants and I'm serving them, immediately everything turns to Vaikuntha. And as soon as somebody starts thinking, no, wait a minute here, I may be his servant, but you're a servant? Forget it. Then immediately it becomes like the material world. The difference between the material world and all glories to you, all glories to my gracious Lord. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shita Trayam Bujakshakila Satpadhamni Samadhina Veshita Chetasaike Samadhina Veshita Chetasaike Vatpada Potena Mahatkritena Vatpada Potena Mahatkritena Kurvanti Govatsa Padam Bhavabdhim Kurvanti Govatsa Padam Bhavabdhim Trayam Bujaksha Kila Satpadhamhi Samadhina Veshita Chetasaike Vatpada Potena Mahatkritena Kurvanti Govatsa Padam Bhavabdhim
Trayam Bujaksha Kila Satpadhamhi Samadhina Veshita Chetasaike Vatpada Potena Mahatkritena Kurvanti Govatsa Padam Bhavabdhim Trayam Bujaksha Kila Satpadhamhi Samadhina Veshita Chetasaike Vatpada Potena Mahatkritena Kurvanti Govatsa Padam Bhavabdhim
Vayam puja shikila sattamni Samadhina vashita chetakshariti Vatpada Potena Mahatkritena Kurvanti Govatsa Padam Bhavabdhim
Vayam Bujaksha Kila Satpadhamhi Samadhina Veshita Chetasaike Vatpada Potena Mahatkritena Kurvanti Govatsa Padam Bhavabdhim
Trayi in you Ambuja Aksha the lotus-eyed Lord Akila Satpadhamni who are the original cause of all existence from whom everything emanates and in whom all potencies reside Samadhina by constant meditation and complete absorption in thoughts of you the Supreme Personality of God Aveshita fully absorbed fully engaged Chetasa but by such a mentality Eke the one process of always thinking of your lotus feet Vatpada Potena by boarding such a boat as your lotus feet Mahatkritena by that action which is considered the most powerful original existence or which is executed by Mahajans Korvanti they make
Govatsapadam,
like the hoofprint of a calf.
like the hoofprint of a calf.
Bhavabdhim,
Bhavabdim,
the great ocean of nescience.
the great oceans of nations.
Translation. O lotus-eyed Lord, by concentrating one's meditation on your lotus feet, which are the reservoir of all existence, and by accepting those lotus feet as the boat by which to cross the ocean of nescience, one follows in the footsteps of Mahajanas, great saints, sages, and devotees. By this simple process, one can cross the ocean of nescience as easily as one steps over the hoofprint of a calf. Report. Srila Prabhupada. The true mission in life is to cross the ocean of nescience, of repeated birth and death. Those in the darkness of ignorance, however, do not know this mission. Instead, being carried away by the waves of material nature, prakrite, kriyamanani, gunakarmani, sarvasha, they are undergoing the tribulations of mrityu, samsara, vartmani, repeated birth and death. But persons who have achieved knowledge by the association of devotees follow the Mahajanas, Mahakritena. Such a person always concentrates his mind upon the lotus feet of the Lord and executes one or more of the 9 varieties of devotional service: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam. Simply by this process, one can cross the insurmountable ocean of nescience. Devotional service is powerful in any form. Shri Vishnu Shravane Parikshad Abhavadvayasaki Kirtane. According to this verse, Maharaj Parikshit became liberated by fully concentrating his mind on hearing the Lord's holy name, attributes, and pastimes. Similarly, Shukadeva Goswami simply glorified the Lord, and by speaking on the subject matters of Krishna that constitute the entire Srimad Bhagavatam, he too was liberated. One may also be liberated simply by sakya, friendly behavior with the Lord. Such is the power of devotional service, as we learn from the examples set by the Lord's many pure devotees. Swayambhu Narada Shambhu Kumara Kapila Manu Prahlada Janaka Bhishma Balir Vyasakir Vayam. We have to follow in the footsteps of such devotees, for by this easy process, one can cross the great ocean of nescience, just as one might cross a small hole created by the hoof of a calf. Here the Lord is described as Ambujaksha, or lotus eye. By seeing the eyes of the Lord, which are compared to lotus flowers, one becomes so satisfied that one does not want to turn his eyes to anything else. Simply by seeing the transcendental form of the Lord, a devotee is at once fully absorbed in the Lord in his heart. This absorption, is called samadhi. Dhyana vastita tadgyatena manasa poshyantiyam yogina. A yogi is fully absorbed in thoughts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for he has no other business than to think of the Lord always within the heart. It is also said, Samashitaji padapalavam plavam mahatpadam punijasho murare pavam buddhir vatsapadam param padam yadavipadam natesham. For one who has accepted the boat of the lotus feet of the Lord, who is the shelter of the cosmic manifestation, and is famous as Murari, the enemy of the demon Mura, The ocean of the material world is like the water contained in a calf's footprint. His goal is Paramapadam, or Vaikuntha, the place where there are no material miseries, not the place where there is danger at every step. This process is recommended here by authorities like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, Swayambhur, Narada, Shambhu, and therefore we must take to this process in order to transcend nescience. This is very easy, but we must follow in the footsteps of great personalities, and then success will be possible. In regard to the word Mahatkritena, it is also significant that the process shown by great devotees is not only for them, but also for others. If things are made easy, this affords facility for the person who has made them easy, and also for others who follow the same principles. The process recommended in this verse for crossing the ocean of nescience is easy not only for the devotee, but also for the common persons who follow the devotee. Mahajana Jena Gataksapantha. Tvayam Bhujakshakila Satvadamni Samadhinaveshita Chetasaike Svatpada Potena Mahatkritena Kurvanti Govatsapadam Bhavabdim. O lotus-eyed Lord, by concentrating one's meditation on your lotus feet, which are the reservoir of all existence, and by accepting those lotus feet as the boat by which to cross the ocean of nescience, one follows in the footsteps of Mahajanas, great devotees, great saints and sages. By this simple process, one can cross the ocean of nescience as easily as one steps over the hoofprint of a calf. So, of course, again, Srila Prabhupada has explained everything in the purport. And therefore, by all rights, we should just ask, are there any questions? But because it is also his desire that we speak something sometimes, so we could go through the purport little by little and explain again, just to give us something to say on Lord Krishna's Janmashtami day, for the whole purpose of hearing and chanting and remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead is ultimately glorification of the Lord, glorification of His lotus feet, and connecting the conditioned soul with that Lord, connecting the conditioned soul with Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna is actually the soul of souls. He's actually our life and soul. Actually, Krishna is everything to us. But sometimes we forget that. Therefore, Prabhupada begins the purport by speaking about that. The true mission in life is to cross the ocean of nescience of repeated birth and death. Those in the darkness of ignorance, however, do not know this mission. Instead, being carried away by the waves of material nature, they are undergoing the tribulations of Mrityu Samsara Vardhini, repeated birth and death. So, here we find, and Prahlad Maharaj, he confirms this, that Nate vidu sa'atikatim hi vishnum durashaya je bahiratavaniya. Now, the problem is that nobody knows that the supreme goal of life is Vishnu. As we explained last night, due to enviousness, people cannot accept Vishnu as the Supreme Lord, because nobody wants to accept anyone as the Supreme Lord. If there is a God, the common statement goes, if there is a God, as if there was a doubt, Anyway, but if there was a God, that God should only exist for my sense gratification. He should give me days and bread and not lead me into temptation. And if he does, then he better get me out of the sinful reactions. He should give me all the things I pray for. Oh God, don't let me lose my money. Oh God, don't let me have an accident. Oh God, as the plane is crashing, don't let this plane crash. We surrender like that when it's at a point where we're receiving the fruits of our karma. And factually, it is going on automatically. And we're suffering in that way. Prakrite, kriyamanani, guna karmani, sarvasha. It's all going on by the modes of material nature. It is the arrangement of nature, prakriti, that is causing everything to occur within this material world. The arrangement of the Lord is that his energy in the form of the external manifestation will cause all of the living entities to continuously not only rotate in the cycle of birth and death, but to be entangled within the karma of their own creation. For everybody is entangled like this. You cannot avoid it. Due to our own creation, we have no one to blame but ourselves. Cannot blame anybody else. Here I am entangled in the karma of the material world. I can't blame anyone else. I can only blame myself because of all these desires. Oceans of desires just flowing around in my consciousness. Actually, these desires are deep within the heart like little seeds. Every one of these desires is planted like a little seed in the heart, waiting to grow when the fertile ground of facility is given. As soon as some practical facility is there for sense gratification, and immediately the seed sprouts, very quick growing plant. As soon as one gets even in an atmosphere whereby sense gratification can be satisfied or obtained, immediately the seed of that desire just sprouts into a big, huge plant. Unfortunately, it's a weed. It doesn't make a nice flower. It's a weed, and it chokes off the nice flowers of devotion, which cause so much trouble. By choking off the flower of devotion, that creeper of devotion, which has so many nice fruits and flowers on it, to be offered to Krishna, the living entity is in essence destroying all good things, all auspicious things. All good things are destroyed when one is engaged in mental speculation, fruitive activity of sense gratification. Anyway, we can understand they don't know Vishnu. They take shelter in durashaya. False things, false shelter. Durashaya. Shelter which is not actually protecting us. Because it is part of the Bahir Anga Shakti, the external energy of the Supreme Lord. It is external. It cannot give us any satisfaction. External. This external energy is filled with pitfalls. Pitfalls. Things which can ultimately cause us enormous trouble. It's like if you are wandering in the forest. It may be very beautiful in various ways, but there are deep pits there sometimes hidden by grasses or by twigs which have fallen. And when you step, you are very confident that your step will put you on solid ground, but sometimes you fall down. And one always falls when he least expects it. Just like catastrophes and chaos always occur when you least expect them. If you're always ready for some catastrophe, it won't happen. Because that wouldn't be a catastrophe then. But as soon as you forget about it, as soon as you're a little bit lax in your vigilance to make sure that everything is taken care of properly, then immediately the catastrophe comes and wipes you out. Because it's karma, it's meant like that. If one was ready to counter every catastrophe, then how his karma would be fulfilled to suffer. So, from another point of view, we should understand we have to suffer. In this material world, it is meant for suffering condition of life. After all, we're in these bodies, and these bodies just simply just go on suffering. You can't avoid it. And here we sit in this room, it's too hot. But if you sit near a window, it's too cold. So the people near the window, they shut the window. And everybody else, they boil. So open the window. You notice how we've cleverly interwoven this? All the way, full. Make air. So, besides all of these basic miseries, there are also miseries which are born of ignorance, just simply not knowing anything about anything. But persons who have achieved knowledge by the association of devotees follow the Mahajans. Mahatkritena. Mahatkritena. Now, of course, you can understand this word in many ways. It's a very nice word. Mahatkritena. Kriti, you know, means piety. Kritena means by that, by piety, or by the process of dharma, but by the process of following religious principles. But what is that dharma? Mahatkritena. That which is established by Mahat. What is Mahat? Mahatma. Mahatman is tu mam partha daivim prakriti mashrita. Pushantinanya manaso gyatva bhutadima vyayam. Mahatma, great personalities who have taken full shelter under the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. They are worshipping Him with unalloyed attachment and devotion. Bhasantinanya manaso, serving Him with fixed mind and no other desire. Knowing Him to be the original, supreme cause and the non-deteriorable, always infinite, absolute truth. Mahat is one who knows that, who has surrendered to Krishna. After long time, bahunam janmanamante, after many, many births and deaths, of searching after knowledge. Searching after knowledge. Looking. After all, one may take so many births within the various pious systems, for instance, Varnashram system. And gradually one will graduate to the platform of knowledge. He may be a Brahmana, but there are various degrees of Brahmanas. And then, after many, many births and deaths of actually developing that knowledge, when one actually develops knowledge, when one actually has attained real knowledge, at that time one surrenders unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. He actually understands Vasudeva Krishna is everything. Samhatma Sadurlabha. This great soul is very rare. So, how do you get this Kritena? By Dharma. Where do you get Dharma? Or the proper following of religious principles? From the Mahat. Who are the Mahat? As Prabhupada explains later on in this purport. Swayambhu and Narada Shambhu Kapila Kumara Manu. These Mahajanas. Mahajana Jaina Gataksapanta Dharma Sitatvam Nihitam Guhayam Dharma Mahajana Jaina Gataksapanta Dharma Sitatvam. This Dharma
or factual procedures of life, of existence, of philosophical principles, of real knowledge, of realized knowledge, which brings us back home, back to the Supreme Lord, comes from the Mahat. Those great souls who have understood the most powerful original existence. That existence which is Krishna. So, such a person always concentrates his mind upon the lotus feet of the Lord and executes one or more of the 9 varieties of devotional service. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasya Sakti Atmani Vedanam. Here in our Krishna consciousness movement, Prabhupada has established all these various services so that you can engage in at least 7 of these services at any one period of time. 7? But we thought this process was 9. Yes, it is 9. But who will be the friend of Krishna? Act in a friendly way towards Krishna. Sakyam. Live with the Lord in friendship and please Him in that way. I don't think that's quite yet possible. Since we're still in the material world, we're still swimming around in the mud of this material existence. So therefore, we have to learn the art of surrender first. So therefore, for us, these 7, Atmani Vedanam, like the gopis, fully surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lord, ready to offer everything to Krishna. I don't think we're near that platform. And in most cases, I don't even think we can see that platform. So, the first 7 are certainly sufficient. In fact, any one of these processes, if one becomes perfected in it, is sufficient to make one perfected in devotional service of the Lord. After all, Shri Vishnu Shavane Parikshit, Maharaj Parikshit simply heard about Krishna from Shukadeva Goswami, and he became perfected. By such hearing process, he understood what was the goal of life, and that was his question also. Please tell me the duties of a man who is about to die. Because it was his practical situation. Here he is, about to die. 7 days left, sitting on the banks of the Ganges. So he wanted to know, what am I supposed to do? In fact, he said, I want to know. Tell me, what is the duty of a man who is about to face death? Of course, we're always facing death. When we speak about Maharaj Parikshit having to die in 7 days, we lament. We think, oh, how terrible. 7 days he has to die. He could have done so much for the kingdom. Everybody was happy. Nobody was disturbed. Everybody thought it was wonderful that he was the king. They were ready to have him forever as their king. He did everything perfectly. He knew all the religious scriptures. He knew all of the proper principles of life. He could teach people anything. He was a perfect king, Rajarshi, great king and great sage. And yet, he had to die in 7 days because of the inexplicable course of time known as fate or providence, manifested in the form of this Brahmin, unqualified son of a Brahmana, Shringi, who ushered in the Kali Yuga. So, okay, it was a terrible thing, but wait a minute. Maharaj Parikshit, he knew he had 7 days before he had to die. That meant he had 7 days to live. He knew he had 7 days to live where he wouldn't die. The rest of us, we're so foolishly thinking, 7 days, that's nothing. We have at least, 7 years, if not more. 20 years, or 30 years, 40 years. Those of you who are maybe 20 or something, you may be thinking, 40, 50, 60, I mean. After all, so young, body so strong and healthy. Make the body very strong and healthy, and then it gets run over by a truck. Anyway, besides that. So, someone may be thinking, I've got so many long years to live. But, actually, I can die tomorrow. Ooh. We never thought of that. I guarantee you not one person in this room thought he could die tomorrow. Because tomorrow's Vyas Puja, and nobody dies on Vyas Puja, right? I guarantee you, nobody thought like that. Nobody. Not even the day after tomorrow. Because you can die in the day after Vyas Puja. No problem. And still, nobody ever considers it. Nobody. Even you're 98 years old. Your teeth have fallen out long ago. You can't even stand up. You're just shaking and twittering and twitching and all the time. You still don't think you'll die tomorrow. You think, no, 7 days, I got more than 7 days. I'll make it another 7 years, sonny. I made it so far, I'll make it even further. Nobody ever thinks they're going to die. It's just not part of our psyche. But Maharaj Parikshit knew he had to die in 7 days. So he said, now for the next 7 days, I'm not going to eat, and I'm not going to drink, and I'm not going to sleep, and I'm simply going to hear the glories of the Supreme Personality of God. And here it is, Janmashtami, and for 1 day, not even 1 day, you just got to make it to midnight, basically. We don't eat. And those who are really austere, they don't drink. And practically they're half dead by midnight. And Maharaj Parikshit, he didn't eat, he didn't drink, he didn't sleep, he didn't do anything, he just sat there and listened non-stop for 7 days. And Shukadeva Goswami did not eat, did not drink, did not sleep either, and he spoke the whole Srimad Bhagavatam to Maharaj Parikshit. Therefore, Sri Krishna Shavane Parikshit, he developed perfection just by hearing from Shukadev. And Shukadev, Abhavad Vyasakir, Kirtanam, he just by speaking attained perfection. So, therefore, this process is so powerful. If one becomes perfected in just one of these processes, he becomes perfected soul. Also, Prabhupada gives some other indication in one of his purports that one should become expert at some mantra. Because just like Ajamil, at the time of his death, chanted the name of his son, one can also extrapolate that principle to mean that if you can somehow or another remember to chant something spiritual at the time of death, then you can get the opportunity of going back home, back to God. So therefore, in times of crisis, in times when the consciousness may be fading fast, one should become expert, so expert at chanting some mantra that the tongue will just vibrate this mantra automatically at the moment of death. Remember, that moment will come. It's a fact. You will come at one point to that moment called the moment of death. And at that time, all that one has done will be tested. Sometimes people think, I can't pass the test anyway, therefore, why should I be so much concerned with the moment of death? Yes, certainly that's all right to say, but when the moment of death comes, you're going to be really sorry you didn't do anything about it. So we are practical inasmuch as we are concerned with making sure that the best arrangement is there for all disturbing conditions of life. Therefore, we practice mantra meditation Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We hear, we chant, we remember Krishna's name. Maybe somebody is chanting other mantras also. Maybe he starts to chant Nrsimha mantra just at that moment of death. Depends. Whatever mantra pops into one's mind. Whatever mantra flows from one's lips, so long it is a transcendental mantra. This will be very valuable. So one should be trained like this. One should be trained. If he becomes just perfected in the kirtan, then that can bring him to the highest transcendental platform. Or the hearing process. Or even in some cases simply by devoted, dedicated, serving. Prabhupada gave the example of one lady, old lady, who was every day going to the Jamuna River and bringing 1 bucket of water for the worship of the deities in Radha Damodar temple. Every single day dedicatedly serving like that. It's called menial service. Pada sevanam. Pada sevanam. Pada means feet. Sevana means service. Even you manage to become so non-envious that you can serve another. But to serve their feet, this is tough, isn't it? Sure, because the foot is considered the lowliest part of the body. But not on Krishna. Every part of Krishna is equally as powerful, as potent, as pure, and as blissful as every other part. Therefore, when we speak of Krishna's feet, we say lotus feet. Krishna has lotus feet because his feet have the exact same color as the lotus flower, the same texture. Very soft, beautiful hues. And Krishna's lotus feet, the gopis are always thinking about placing on their hearts, because these lotus feet are the perfection of the whole universe, just to attain Krishna's lotus feet. But Krishna's lotus feet also indicate something very deep. The total submissive service to the master. Service to the lotus feet of Krishna means one is engaged in a menial service. Pada sevanam. Anything. Even just bringing a bucket of water a day. And one day that lady didn't bring her bucket of water. And Prabhupada knew that she went back to Godhead. And so that service alone was sufficient. Of course, it's Vrindavan. To bring one, not that you can here on the farm just bring 1 bucket of water for the deity in the morning and forget about everything, and that's it. And then we'll go back to Godhead. Maybe in Vrindavan you can do. But anyway. But the point is that this service, even if it's menial like that, can bring all perfection just by engaging like that. Just like Maharaj Prataparudra. Maharaj Prataparudra was anyway a great devotee of the Lord, great devotee of Lord Jagannath, because the king in Orissa at that time, in that area, was also the one who was the chief administrator of the Jagannath Puri temple. So, Maharaj Prataparudra was a great king, but also a great devotee. A real Rajarshi of the modern age. But Lord Chaitanya didn't want to see him. He said he's just an ordinary king. Ordinary king means too much absorbed in money and women, because these are the 2 main things that kings deal with all day. Therefore, I don't want to see him. He's a Vishayi, a sense enjoyer. So I don't want to speak with him. I don't want to see him. So the king was devastated. He wanted to just have some darshan of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by all means, but he was devastated why he couldn't do like that. But the king was very humble. For every Rath Yatra festival, he would sweep the road in front of the cart of Lord Jagannath. Of course, it had a golden handle, the broom. But he would sweep the road. Lord Jagannath's broom has a golden handle. He would sweep the road in front of the Lord very humbly, as Lord's cart would go down the street. So, Lord Jagannath was very pleased by this, and was looking upon him with his big eyes, and granting him his mercy. And then later on, arrangement was made by the tricks of the devotees, and Lord Chaitanya allowed it. Because of that, that Maharaj Prataparudra would get some personal service to the Lord himself. So, one should learn the art of this humble, submissive service, padasevanam, even if one is very big like that. You also should render menial service sometimes to the Supreme Lord. Of course, now every day, everybody wants to be the one who sweeps the cart in front of the Lord Jagannath. Because of Maharaj Prataparudra, in Calcutta in the Rath Yatra, sometimes they fight, the big men, who's going to sweep the road? Because everybody wants to sweep the road. Because we caught on. To Maharaj Prataparudra's good example, we've caught on that this is the way to capture the mercy of Lord Shri Krishna. Of course, there are others who may not have engaged in the kind of austerity and the chanting and the regulative principle that normally would be ascribed to devotees, but simply by friendly behavior, they attain perfection in relationship with the Lord. And Prabhupada quotes about the Mahajans, because quite some of them, simply by friendly behavior with the Lord, attain perfection. Maybe not going through all kinds of procedures of spiritual advancement. So therefore, we have to follow in the footsteps of such devotees. For by this one easy process, one can cross the great ocean of nescience, just as one might cross a small hole created by the hoof of a calf. This example was given in different places. And this example of water in the hoof print of a calf signifies that it's a little bit of water. So the great ocean of nescience is a big amount of dirty, agitated water. Always up and down the waves of Maya. What is that verse? Miche Mayara Boshe Yachabeshe Kachahabudububai. All the time the waves of nescience are just going up and down in the boat, that little boat. We are on these little boats of our sense gratification. Putting on the ocean of nescience. Sometimes we're kicked up, sometimes dove down, sometimes the water just washes over our boat, finished, and we have to get in a new body. And that one's trying to navigate the ocean of nescience. Sometimes we're put up, very big position by Maya's wave. And then we think, this is eternal. I have attained this position because of my greatness. And it shall never go away. Avyaya. I am avyayam. I never deteriorate. My qualities are always eternally great. And then, very soon, the wave just starts to pull us down. And then as we go faster and faster and faster to the bottom, and then we dive into the bottom of the wave, and then we're lamenting like anything. Oh, how could this happen? Oh no, woe is me. But one should understand, what goes up must come down. One may go up to the highest planet of this material universe, the Brahmaloka, but it is only a place of misery. Well, misery in the sense that repeated birth and death take place. So long as you are not surrendered to Krishna, you're going to have to go through the cycle of repeated birth and death. And on this earth planet especially, old age and disease follow automatically. Sometimes we think we can make arrangements by which we never have to suffer disease. It's not possible. There's nobody who can avoid disease. It's just part and parcel of life. Just like breathing. At one point, you're going to get diseased. Even one manages to avoid by all kinds of good living something or another. But still, as we once mentioned, you may have the most perfect lifestyle, and then one day all of a sudden, somehow some sprinkling is going on your cauliflower that sits on the field. Some sprinkling of some dust, special kind of dust, a good spice. The strontium spice and the bromium spice and the other forms of wonderful stralung, and just spice up your very nice cauliflowers and cabbages. Oh, I know it doesn't happen. I know that's just... Don't worry about that. That never happens. Yeah. Or if, the water always stays pure all the time. After all, in Switzerland, they have such tight controls over all these things. Everything is so controlled. There'll never be any accidents. These things never happen in Switzerland. Never. It's perfectly controlled, everything. Never is there any pollution of our environment. Everything is perfect. Until one day it all goes to hell, and everybody's scratching their head and wondering what just happened, and everything dies. So don't think that just being materially in the mode of goodness is going to make you perfect and protected, and there's no protection. Padama padama yadavipadam natesham. Nowhere in this material world will you find protection. Because at every step there's danger. You try to push out danger on this side and the danger comes in that side. You're blocking it off this way like anything. You have your army set up. Everybody's blocking off all the dangers that are pushing in from here. And while you're working very hard to block off all the dangers, they sneak in from behind and stab you in the back. Ah! They got me. It's always like that, even if you're a king, big king, sitting on your throne. My subjects, I will give you protection. Don't you worry, I am here, my army is here, everything is there. Treasury is there, sufficient grains are stored, the rains are coming on time, everything is fine. Except he has one minister in the back who's thinking, that rascal. I am going to take over the kingdom. And one day he sits on his throne and drinks his water and... A wonderful example, Indira Gandhi had so many bodyguards to protect her. And then the bodyguards shot her. But where's protection in this world? Who's going to protect us? You may be surrounded by an army and still die. And you may have no protection, and everybody may be shooting at you like anything, and somehow you don't get hit. This is the arrangement of the Supreme. Those who Krishna wants to protect, they are protected no matter what. Those who Krishna does not want to protect, they are not protected no matter what. If Krishna wants you to die, you die. That's all. Finished. No discussion. When it's time to go, you go. Goodbye. If it's not time to go, you don't go. That is all there is to it. Because that is the nature of the arrangement of the Supreme Controller. Everything is tightly controlled. Tightly controlled. It is not that there is a large area that we can run around in and make our own fate moment by moment. No. Everything is tightly controlled, and you have a little bit of independence by which one can engage in service of Krishna, or one can give it up and engage in service of Maya and choose to put oneself according to his desires in a certain direction, but all the time being constantly bombarded by previous karmic reactions due to so many sinful desires in the heart. Therefore, one has to learn to cross the ocean of nescience, that great ocean with waves going up and down and all around, in the proper boat of knowledge. Boat of safety, which comes and is situated just at the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna. If you see that ocean of nescience from the distance, you will see there is a boat there, waiting to take you across. At the bottom where Krishna's lotus feet stand, there's this boat. You can see that boat, and you can see that that boat can take me across this ocean of nescience. If there's a good captain of the ship placed on that boat by the will of providence just to carry us across this ocean of nescience, then we can see like that, then we move towards that boat. But as we get closer and closer and closer to this boat which carries us over the ocean of nescience, the ocean itself shrinks more and more and more and more. Till finally, when we're standing at the shore of the ocean, it's shrunk to just a little bit of water in the hoofprint of a calf. And then one thinks, just see. the material illusory energy, how it has captured me and made me think of this grand material universe as some wonderful arrangement for my enjoyment. And factually, compared to Krishna, it is just a little bit of water in the hook. It is eternal devotional service. It's eternal here also, but the body's not. So we have to transform our bodies. Generally, of course, we want to go back home, back to God, as fast as possible. But the great acharyas in our line of disciplic succession, beginning with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they prayed, Mama Janmani Janmanishware Bhavatad Bhakti Rahaituki Toyi. All I want is your devotional service, loving devotional service in my life, birth after birth. Even I have to take birth again, I don't mind, so long as I can engage fully in your devotional service in that birth. Therefore, our whole Krishna consciousness movement is just meant for giving everybody the opportunity to serve Krishna. Serve Krishna, love Krishna, worship Krishna, speak about Krishna, chant Krishna's name, and take Krishna's prasadam. In this way, become Krishna conscious. By always involving oneself in Krishna's plan. He has plan which manifests through the disciplic succession. The great acharyas have given us this plan. This mission is there, and we have to do like that. Therefore, we are engaging ourselves in this preaching mission as our topmost vision. How to fulfill that preaching mission. Some may do it in a very direct manner. Others may do it in a more indirect manner. But whatever manner, just serve Krishna. Engage in his devotional service. Become purified and preach this Krishna consciousness movement all over the world. Are there any questions? Especially our guests might like to ask some questions. You are invited. Yes.
According to things that I heard, it seems that we really, it seems like, it sounds like we want to avoid this Maya.
Yes, we want to avoid Maya. Yes.
And we want to be liberated.
We want to serve Krishna. That's liberation. Yes.
Is this definite or definitions of liberation?
No, there are many forms of liberation. We do not accept the form of liberation which simply brings us to the position of oneness with the Supreme, Brahman. We consider this like spiritual suicide, because you are an eternal spiritual soul. You are part and parcel of Krishna. You have senses, you have desires. Spiritual senses, spiritual desires. And to simply take our existence within the merging, so-called merging with Brahman, cannot satisfy the living entity fully. Because he has sentient existence. He's active. And when one so-called enters into Brahman, his activity stops. He just engages, he doesn't engage anything. He just becomes so-called one. This is a temporary position because one cannot remain there forever. Because again, after some time, his desire for action will manifest and he will take some position of activity. Therefore, those who are so much talking about Brahman all the time, but during their lives, they end up doing some philanthropic work, some welfare activity, open a school, hospital, library, something like this. Because you have to be active. It is impossible not being active. The desire is there. The desire manifests in so many ways, which lead to activity. So we avoid this concept of oneness. Although we are talking about oneness and difference simultaneously. We are one and different from Krishna simultaneously. We're one with him in quality and different from him in quantity. So we don't avoid oneness completely, but oneness must be understood in relative terms, in its relative term also. that we are one and different simultaneously. That's the absolute understanding. Just to understand the oneness is not sufficient. It's half of the truth. To understand just the difference is not sufficient. We should understand the oneness and difference simultaneously. That is the professor.
So our liberation is, if I'm right, the liberations we want just to counteract any disadvantage.
That's liberation. But then once you are liberated from the physical bondage, then you engage in the spiritual activity. So the first thing you do is get rid of the material bondage, and the second thing you do is engage in spiritual activity, serving Krishna in spiritual form. Now we have material form and material world. So once we are freed from this contamination, then we can fully engage in the spiritual world in the spiritual form. That doesn't mean now we can't serve Krishna. We use the material body in the material world to serve him. But once we are freed from this existence, then we do that service to Krishna in our spiritual body in the spiritual world.
Is there also kind of spiritual bondage that we want to be liberated?
No. Spirit means free. But bondage means material.
Oh, I thought bondage is like things that limit you from your desire towards freedom.
Yes, but in the spiritual sky, there's no such limitation. You have unlimited capacity to serve Krishna according to your desire, which is limited because you're a small little living entity. You don't have unlimited desires. But according to your desires and capacity, you have unlimited facility in the spiritual world to serve Krishna. There are even kalpa vriksha trees in the spiritual world. It's called Chintamani Dham. All of your desires may be fulfilled for serving Krishna. The devotees, they have unlimited practically, not unlimited in that sense. They have many, many, many desires to serve Krishna. They can just go to these trees and ask for some particular fruits or flowers or vegetables or whatever for serving Krishna. The tree supplies immediately. Whatever you want, you go there, you ask, my dear tree, I would like to make this and this and this for Krishna. You kindly supply. Immediately, take. That we have no experience of. Because here, we only can understand this tree gives that, this tree gives this plant gives this sometimes. You have to be careful. Otherwise, it won't give anything like this. Because here in the material world, it's a hard struggle for existence. Therefore, even serving Krishna sometimes is a hard struggle for existence. But we do not find in the spiritual world such a hard struggle for existence, because there's no struggle. There, everybody has his desires to serve Krishna, and they may be different. There may be so many different desires. I want to serve Krishna in one way, you want to serve Krishna in another way. But it doesn't matter. Because I have my facility to serve Krishna, you have your facility to serve Krishna, therefore there's no conflict, there's no fighting. Now, if I want to serve Krishna and you want to serve Krishna, and it's somewhat similar, and we both need to use the same thing, then there can be friction. If I have to sweep that floor and you have to sweep this floor and there's only one room, well, I can guarantee you there'll be a little bit of trouble. So that's the problem of the material world, because there's a limited facility, therefore there's struggle. But in the spiritual world, there's unlimited facility. And besides that, nobody's envious. Even if there was only one room, they say, first you sweep your floor, then I'll sweep my floor. Of course, here in Krishna's temple, we should use our brain like that too. But in the material world, we would fight, no, I want to sweep my floor first. That's the problem. Yes? I cannot hear anything. Padasevana means menial kind of service, like washing the floor, stuff like that, washing the pots. Very wonderful service. But they are simple services in the sense that you're given an order, you do that, okay, I shall wash the floors, I shall wash the pots, I shall bring a bucket of water, some menial service like that, carry something here or there, do something like this. Then dasyam means you're given a mission. Like Hanuman was given a mission. Go find Sita. So he went to all the corners of the earth looking for Sita. And finally he found her in Lanka. And then he went back and told Lord Ramchandra. It's a mission. It's something that could take place over long periods of time. Padasevanam is something which is done just minute by minute. But the dasyam is something which is done over long periods of time. Just like Srila Prabhupada told us, go to town, village to village, door to door, and give everybody these literatures, these books. So that's a mission. That's dasyam. It's just a lifetime steady mission. You see the difference? Yes?
Can you tell me please, if we know that we can never die, and this body is always dead, then what exactly can die?
Yeah, the body's always dead, but because your spirit soul is in it, it seems to be living. Therefore, it's different than this table. There's a difference between dead matter and living matter. Living matter is animate matter which expresses consciousness. Dead matter is matter which expresses no consciousness. It cannot act. So, when you leave the body, then that which was living, active, conscious matter now becomes unconscious, totally dead substance. So the life is actually the soul. It just seems to be the body. So when you leave it, then the body, which is matter, reverts totally to its unconscious existence. Actually, it's already dead, sure, of course, that's okay. But, you know, we have to be a little bit sane about this. We have to distinguish between matter which is living, which means there's spirit soul whose consciousness is involved in that body, and matter which is dead. Just like, yes, everything ultimately may be spirit, but we distinguish between that spirit which is Satchit Ananda, and we can see that and realize that, and that which is covered by Maya and acts for birth, death, old age, and disease with these material elements. So, therefore we make these distinctions because we're not impersonalists. You see, impersonalists, they never make these distinctions. They never make a distinction between this body or this thing or that floor or anything. And there's no question of dying because it's all one anyway. And there's no question of not being God because you're anyway God. And it's anyway all spirit and it's all one. See, this philosophy which you're bringing up is exactly impersonalistic philosophy. Therefore, it's very dangerous. You should understand that this body is matter, but it is now called living matter because there's a soul in it. So therefore, that's called life. This is a definition. It's not something that we have to philosophically question. Of course, we understand the body is just dead matter, because as soon as you sever any part from the spirit soul, it manifests immediately its dead qualities. But while you're living in it, it's defined as life, living matter. Therefore, and we speak about it like that, prana. It's got life. That's a definition, because it manifests a particular quality in that way. And that quality is different than dead matter. And because this table has a different quality than this hand, we make this distinction. And to not make the distinction on the basis of some philosophical principle can lead us down the rosy path of Mayavadi philosophy and end us up hanging from a tree. Therefore, one should learn the art of distinction. And then, from the point of view of understanding this distinctiveness of things, the variety of things, he can also understand, from a higher perspective, that this is Krishna's energy manifesting in this way. And I am separate from it, asango kayam purusha. And therefore, I should situate myself in the spiritual world. And not try to mix up these points too much more, otherwise one gets in trouble.
Guru Maharaj, does it mean that what makes a distinction is the false ego? And so when the false ego dies,
No. That's wrong. The distinction is made by Krishna. Bhumirapo analoba yukamano bhujireva ahankar iti yame prakitim vina astada aparayam itastanyam prakitim vidime para jiva bhuta mahabaho yedam dayate jagat. Krishna makes the distinction between matter and spirit. It is not my false ego. I'm not God. God made the distinction, and I just learned it from Bhagavad Gita, being taught by Srila Prabhupada.
does it mean that everyone is thinking that they can cheat themselves or they can cheat others, but they don't know that Krishna is always cheating. He's the biggest cheating. Just like a man when he's smoking, he's thinking, I'm smoking a cigarette. But actually it's the cigarette who smokes the man. What means that we're thinking that we can control the material energy. That is the material energy control us.
Yes, the material energy controls you. That's correct. So one should not think that he controls the material energy, because the fact is that the material energy controls you. But you let it, because you like it. Just like you're very esoteric. An interesting example, that it is not the man who smokes the cigarette, it's the cigarette who smokes the man, because actually the cigarette comes from the man. The smoke comes from the cigarette, not from the man, right? So the cigarette makes the smoke, and the smoke goes and smokes up the man. That makes perfect sense. Of course, we don't think, sane people generally don't think like that. Because it's exactly the same argument that when you're in court and you just beat somebody over the head with a club, and you tell the judge, my dear judge, I mean, come on, get serious. It wasn't me who did it, it was the club. Look at this thing. It's still got the blood on it, everything. It was the club. I didn't smoke the cigarette. It came and smoked me. I was sitting in my chair, just minding my own business. And all of a sudden, then there was this pressure on my chest. What could I do? You see, if you try to present this argument to any sane group of persons, they will just say very nice and then put you in one of these little trunks. We have to be a little sane. The world has already been defined. We work within that definition. We cannot just redefine everything. Otherwise we go mad. And Krishna has given all these nice philosophical statements and understandings because it's from the viewpoint of the sanity. You can always turn the whole thing upside down and around if you like. And I'm sure it's interesting. Mental speculation is always interesting for those who like to speculate. But if you want to learn the Vedic literatures, you have to at least accept there's some existence which is a standard. And then we work from there. So in the standard existence, you smoke the cigarette, let's say. Well, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't even use these examples. Then I'm forced to use these examples. It's not even good examples. That's it. Then you can also say that, I'm not eating the cucumber, it's eating me. You are the one who performs the action. You, in Maya. But this is all going on in Prakriti. So one should understand, you are the one responsible. It's your fault. You did it. By your desire. You're here in Maya because you want to be. You can't blame anyone else. You can't blame Prakriti. You can't blame even Krishna. It's you. You're responsible. Take that responsibility. Wear it on your head like a crown. This lead weight of responsibility that I am the rascal. Me. I'm the one who put me here in this miserable material world. What am I doing? Let me get out of here. So then you should hear very carefully this philosophy and then start redefining your intelligence in terms of the philosophy. And then when you do that, you'll be in very good condition.
Does it mean, Guru Maharaj, You see, I'm under the control of the material energy. But this material energy is also from Krishna. It means everything is spiritual. That means that I'm under the control of Krishna.
Yes, you're indirectly under the control of Krishna because he's created Maya for those fools who want to be in it. So because you are playing in Krishna's playground called Maya, you're always under Krishna's control. Everything's under Krishna's control. But those persons who are so foolish as to go to this place, Maya, they have no one to blame but themselves because they went there. Krishna put Maya there. Krishna's got everything else over here. You walked over there to Maya. So it's your fault. You went there because Krishna didn't put you there. He didn't say, now you go to Maya. You put yourself in Maya. So it's your fault. So you're very expert at trying to avoid your own responsibility. I've noticed this. You're super expert at trying to just slip out of the responsibility that it's all your fault. Anyway, we're just telling you something. That you got to accept the fact that it's your fault, ultimately. And that it's not Krishna's fault. You see? Because this philosophy always ends up that it's Krishna's fault, right? I mean, it's your material nature. Krishna, you put it here. I mean, you are more. Everybody's under your control. You say, Daivi Esha Gunamai. Therefore, it's all your fault. It's so powerful. No way I can avoid it. I mean, I'm just a little tiny little being here. This whole huge material nature has come and crushed me. So it's all your fault. So why do I have to suffer? This is exactly what you're saying. And this is exactly the statement that Prabhupada, would say, this is total rascaldom. That's exactly what it is. Complete and total rascaldom. Where one wants to put the blame on Krishna for our own foolishness. We're the fools, we're the nonsenses, we're the rascals, there's no doubt about it. And anyone who doubts it is a rascal. Because anyway, you're a rascal. There's no doubt that we're the rascals, and if you doubt it, you're a rascal. There's no way around it. How about that for logic? We can also play with logic too. You cannot blame Krishna. We've done it. Yes.
Do you have any definitions between, or how do you differentiate between mind, soul, and consciousness?
The mind is part of the material nature. It is that agent or that facility, that function within this material existence which allows the activities of the senses to relate to the intelligence. It is the via media between the senses and the intelligence, and thus the desires. So the mind is where all of the thought process goes on, which is basically just simply the various desires of the senses and the plans of the intelligence, how to satisfy the senses. And the intelligence itself is discriminating all the time. Shall I enjoy in this way, or shall I enjoy in that way? Which would be better for ultimate enjoyment? Mainly, of course, it's thinking about how I can avoid this suffering so I can enjoy. I mean, this is a long thing, but I'm giving you very short. Then, the consciousness manifests from the soul. The spiritual soul is spiritual. It's far beyond all of that. Mind, intelligence, matter, all the earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. These are all material things. So the spirit soul is beyond that. Prakriti Para, it's a superior energy. So the soul, he's situated in the body, and his consciousness, the soul is conscious, and his consciousness goes throughout the whole body, spreads throughout the whole body, and thus he can perceive with this body. So the consciousness is the symptom of the soul. The soul is consciousness, and it is expanded through this body. And part of the way in which our consciousness manifests when we're in the material world in Maya is through the agency of the mind.
So it's a very big subject matter. We go on talking about it for hours, but I just tried to answer your question quickly. This is subject matter. It's the subject matter of a whole canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Basics. Yes.
Chciałam zapytać, jak możemy medytować obóstwa, żeby nie popełniać obraz, będąc na platformie nauczycielskiej.
How we can meditate about deities so that we will not commit some offenses.
Meditate, you just have to stand before the Supreme Lord, chant His holy name, and dance, and then perform some service for the Supreme Lord. Do something for decorating His temple, or washing the floor, or working in the kitchen. Your meditation can be in practical work. That's also meditation. Practical work. Samadhi is attained by working very hard for Krishna. If one stands before the deity and commits offenses in the mind, then better he goes out and serves the deity. Then gradually he'll be purified and give up this offensiveness in the mind. Understand? Yes, last.
Shri to us that in the Bhagavad Gita it is said that Krishna says that Naham Prakasha Sarasya Yoga Maya Samavita. So he said, I'm covering myself with the Yoga Maya potency. So I just don't understand exactly this. So why there is need? Why he says this?
Because you want to forget him.
Example, could you give Shri?
Yeah, you. You want to forget Krishna. You wanted to forget Krishna, so here you are in Maya. So Krishna's covered himself, and now you forgot all about Krishna. Now aren't you happy? No. So now you understand. He said, I reserve the right not to be manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. Therefore you have to become unfoolish and very intelligent. What more you wanted to know? If I don't want to know Krishna, but Krishna is there, how am I going to not know him? He's so powerful, he's so great. His effulgence is so all-pervasive that all the universes are bathed in it. So if I don't want to know Krishna, how am I going to not know him? He's everywhere. So in order to help me forget Krishna, Krishna covers himself. I'm not here. And then we go, there's no Krishna. I don't see him. Can you show me God? Bring God here. There's no God. So this is why Krishna does it, just so that you can march around and proclaim yourself God. And have you done that lately? So, therefore, one should surrender to Krishna, and then he will withdraw this curtain of Maya. He will lift the veil of Maya. I think I'm over. We have time, so maybe just a couple of yes. The controller.
Du sagtest, das Deutsch sprechen, ja? Du sagtest, dass ich sterben muss. Da komme ich nicht drum rum. Gibt es eine Möglichkeit, diesen Vorgang des Sterbens zu trainieren? Dass man, wenn er dann soweit ist, dass man eben halt vorbereitet ist. Dass man den vorwegnimmt.
You want to know the process of dying? Or how to get prepared for the Buddha?
How to take this process of dying will come. So can I take
Prepare
it into my life now and practice this?
Yeah, training process. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is what I've been talking about the whole class.
Damit ich ihn vorwegnehmen kann, diesen Vorgang.
Huh?
Dass ich ihn vorwegnehmen kann. vorwegnehmen, einfach diesen Zustand, der sowieso irgendwann kommt.
Anticipated. I mean, this idea is based on what they do in the New Age movement. They have dying seminars. Where people lie around like someone says how it is when you die, he speaks it. And they
How does someone know how it is when you die?
But they have seen there's pain. This is sad. This is sad. And the idea is by living it through.
Living it through?
Going through it. When it comes, and you're prepared, just like an astronaut goes. Wait a minute. Just wait a minute. Now wait a minute. You can't tell me that you prepare yourself for death by laying on the floor, pretending you're dead, in whatever way. No. Wait, just wait. Now you don't have to do that. You've already practiced dying. We're already experts at dying. Every one of us have died billions of times. We're expert diers. We just forgot, that's all. And you can remember how to die. You don't need to practice it like that. What do you want to do? Practice dying so that you're prepared for death? You don't have to, you've already practiced, and you haven't been prepared. That's my point. You've already practiced dying, about 1 billion times, minimum, and you're still not prepared. So what more practicing you can do? If you've already practiced 1 billion times something and you haven't learned how to do it right, then maybe you should give up trying to do that. You understand my point? You've already died so many times. And each time you died, that was an experience you had to practice. But you still didn't learn. Therefore, by practicing the experience of death, I mean, I don't know if you were catching on to what he was saying over here. I'm responding to what he was saying over here. So this may not be the exact response for your question over there. But over here he was saying there's some practicing going on in some group who are learning how to die by various means. But what I'm saying is there's no need for that. You've already practiced dying. Because practicing dying is not the way to learn how to be liberated. You have to practice from the platform of already being in your spiritual condition. To practice the point of death has no value. You have to practice beyond death. You have to practice the stage beyond death. Practicing just dying, that doesn't help. Because that gets you a new body in a nice, peaceful way. But if you practice beyond death, the spiritual realm, then death comes automatically. It's just like, if you ride a bicycle, you look way ahead. And maybe there's a little hole here or there. Maybe the bike goes boom into the hole. But anyway, you keep going. But if you're just looking down, and all of a sudden there's that hole, then you So we're looking so far beyond death that for us death is just a little bump in the road. It comes, you go boom boom, okay. Again, I'm not sure whether your question was related to his commentary on it, but that's the answer to his commentary. So therefore, in all fairness, you should get a chance to ask again if I didn't exactly answer your question, but I think I answered his comment on that.
Ja, es geht halt. Also es geht darum, dass wir jenseits von Geburt und Tod kommen. Das trainieren wir. Wann trainieren wir das? Jetzt,
This is training.
ja,
What we're doing now is training. We're chanting Hare Krishna. We're developing a consciousness which is beyond death. When you develop your consciousness, which is eternal, then death doesn't take place. You're already eternal. The body just dies. You're already heading off to the spiritual platform. Now, if that's not training, I don't know what is. It's so much training that when death takes place, it's like somebody turned out the light and put on the big sun. Death is like that. It's like you're in a little, closet about so big, and you have a little candle there. That's what this life is like as far as illumination is concerned. And outside this little closet, there's a blazing midday sun. But you're in this little closet all stuffed up there with your little candle. So then death, somebody blows out the candle, it gets all dark momentarily, then boom, they knock down the whole house, and shoo, there you are, in the sunshine. This is the kind of a death which is experienced by devotee. Narada Muni described it like lightning. It's like being, when lightning strikes, there's initially a devastation, but there's simultaneously an illumination. If the lightning comes, it may devastate a tree, burn to the ground. But it also makes the whole place bright light. Very clear, sharp light. Perfect light. So similarly, death comes like the lightning to the realized soul. It destroys the body. But simultaneously is the illumination, so one can never be bewildered by death. Dhiras tachanamuyanti. One is never disturbed, even at the moment of death. And that's real training for death. Otherwise, if one is fixing his mind on the death, or whatever, then it will be disturbing no matter how it happens. But if one fixes his mind far beyond that, when it happens, it's just a little bump in the road. Okay? Yes?
Is that the same with suffering which we have now in your life? Now?
Yes, it's the same. When you are fully Krishna conscious, this suffering condition that may be there is like something else. Just a by the way experience. And one just goes on serving Krishna no matter what his condition. And then he's so much serving Krishna he can't even perceive the suffering condition of the material world.
Does it mean we can check our progress and see how much we are advancing and how much we recognize the suffering?
Well, how much you are still attached to the material world? Bhaktir parasanu bhavo viraktir anyachacha. To the degree you are attached to the material world and this body, is to that degree you are not fully surrendered to Krishna. Yes?
Write that one should not allow the services of others to disturb his service. It's in the first or I think fourth chapter. So what does it mean? Because you gave this example with the blow when there is one on.
Yes, okay, let's use the example of the broom. It's a very nice example. Practical, everybody relates to that one. So, the room is there. Now, two people want to use it. So you have a choice. I can broom first, then he can broom. Or he can broom first, then I can broom. Or we can stand there and fight and waste our whole day. So these are the three choices. Or, no, there's a fourth one. Neither of us broom, we both go away. Okay, we have four choices. Now, when they're in Maya, they come together, they say, what? Only one broom? What kind of management is this? Forget it. And they walk away. Then the other one is, they come together and they say, what? I want this broom. No, I want this broom. No, I want this broom. And they end up beating each other in the head, and they don't accomplish anything. And there's a big mess, and neither of them do get the service. Their brain is all disturbed and agitated. Now, what do you do in that circumstance, or the other circumstance? Either of them means your service is disturbed. So what's the solution if you're not supposed to have your service disturbed by others? Then you say, all right, you take care of
the broom first, you can sweep, and then I'll take it. Usually, of course, one will say, no, you take it first. No, you take it first. No, sweep. But somehow some compromise will be worked out. Or one can say like this, look, there's only one broom and there's two rooms. I'm supposed to do the other room, you're supposed to do this room. Now, if you sweep this room, then you give me the broom and I do the other room, then I can't do anything in this period of time. So why don't you sweep both rooms and I'll do something else? Now that's a more intelligent way to make a compromise. So when you use your brain, you can figure it out, how to organize something so that you don't have your service disturbed. In this case, it would be disturbed by mismanagement, telling two people to do the same thing with one broom. That's mismanagement. So you can solve the mismanagement by reorganizing it so that one person does both places and you go do something else. So that would be a spiritual way of working it out. Understand? So that's just a little example, but there are probably more. Yes?
You had this example of bloom, and it seems that it's very important that one of them or both get a bloom. I don't understand, this is material. Why wouldn't it be enough if they had the idea, I want to give it to Krishna, and if I have the blooming material or just an idea, should be the same.
In theory. But in practice, the floor is dirty. So if one lives in such a way that he thinks clean floors are good, then one requires a broom. So it's not good enough just to have a nice broom in the mind, because then the dirt stays on the floor. The broom stays in the mind and the dirt stays in the floor. Therefore, to be practical, the broom has to be there, applied to the floor, and then the dirt gets off the floor. Therefore, the example was given. Not because we wanted to offer a broom to Krishna. We don't offer brooms to Krishna. He offers brooms to us and we speak to
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare